Welcome back to the Weekly Crave. This week we're going to talk about some of the games that got announced during Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase. But that's not everything, so stay tuned for that. This episode of the Weekly Crave is sponsored by Gamerceps, but more on them later this episode. First, let's talk about some of the games coming out next week. First up is Still Wakes Deep. It's coming out on the 18th and it's also coming on Game Pass. It's a bit of a horror game, a bit of a walking simulator, but if you're a fan of horror, you have something to play if you're also a Game Pass subscriber. And the second game, it's not really a game but a DLC, because Elden Ring, the Shadow of Earth 3 is coming out next week as well, the 21st, next Friday. But it's coming next week. Hope you guys enjoy if you're a fan of Elden Ring. If you loved Elden Ring, you probably already have pre-ordered this DLC as well. And there's one game that we missed. Well, it's not really a game, it's a DLC. Because Alan Wake 2's Night Springs DLC is available right now. It got shadow dropped during the Summer Game Fest or Xbox Showcase announcements. And there's also a physical version coming that also includes the DLC. So you have that to look forward to later this year. And now let's go to the news. First up, we have LEGO Horizon Adventures. It seems to be a retelling of Horizon Zero Dawn, but not much information is known yet about the story itself, but the gameplay looked really cool. Let's do a bit of a quickfire round this time, because there's a lot to go through. Valorant, coming to consoles. Civilization 7, announced. We also have Power Rangers, a new game, it seems to be a little bit retro inspired. Metaphor ReFantasio also showed off some new gameplay and some of its classes that you can play as. That's also something to look out forward to later this year. Life is Strange is also back with Life is Strange Dual Exposure. And guess who else is back? Max. But they removed Tumblr out of her, so she just kinda looks a bit more normal now and nobody recognized her. Starfield, it showed off a brand new trailer for its Shattered Space expansion. It kinda just looked like more of the same. Fable also showed off a brand new trailer. It looked absolutely amazing. If there's one Xbox game you should be hyped for, it's for sure Fable, because it's back and better than ever. It's coming out later this year, also on Game Pass, just like all the other Xbox stuff that I'm probably gonna mention in this episode. So yeah, Fable, epic, nice, play that. For fans of Gears of War, Gears is back with a prequel. People didn't like the fifth one where they replaced the main character, but you are now back as the main protagonist of the other games, so you can see the story of how they got together and started their adventure. I don't know anything about Gears. Could you tell? Speaking of prequels, Doom. Doom the Dark Ages is also coming out somewhere next year or the year after. I forgot the release year, but it looked absolutely amazing. It was like with Vikings and dragons. It really showed off a brand new side of Doom. I'm so excited for it, and you should be as well. It has taken a while, multiple developers even, but Perfect Dark finally got a real announcement. Even showed off some gameplay, some footage. It looked a lot like Deus Ex, not my cup of tea, but if you like those stealth type games, it sure is a game you should look out for. Last week we told you that the long-awaited Dragon Age game has a brand new name, The Felguard, and now it even showed off a trailer. Dragon Age The Felguard looked a bit more cartoony than the other Dragon Age games did, but at least it looked pretty cool. And we're back talking about Black Ops 6 because we just can't stop talking about this game. It's back. It seems like it's a mix of Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3. Even Woods is back, he is in a wheelchair, so it's before Black Ops 2. The gameplay they showed off, there's like dynamic movement. It just looked perfect. It's like if you have been waiting for Call of Duty to get good again since Black Ops 3 maybe, then this is your point to jump back into the franchise, because it's also coming to Game Pass, so you can just try it out if you have a PC or an Xbox. While we're talking about military stuff, let's just go right into Metal Gear, because Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater also got a brand new trailer. It showed off some iconic scenes with its brand new look as well. What also got a new trailer was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Not my cup of tea, it looked really goofy. I really don't know what to say about the game. It just didn't look that good at all. Xbox wasn't done with everything, because we also got a new trailer for A Vote. It showed off some story, some gameplay. It just did a bit of everything, and it's coming out later this year as well. The Ubisoft Forward was a bit more of a boring thing this year, but they showed off some more Star Wars Outlaw and Assassin's Creed gameplay. Assassin's Creed has like this day and night cycle thing, or a season cycle. That looked really cool. Some of the combat as well. Each character has their own game style. One of them is more stealthy, the other one is more of a warrior. Star Wars showed off a lot of its gameplay as well. It seemed to be a pretty long game, and honestly everything I hoped Starfield to be honest. We have talked about a lot of big games this time. I did go through it rather quickly, but we also have 2 indie games, because the guy from the Stanley Parable is back with Wonderstop. It seems to be like some tea-making game, but there seems to be also a twist where you do some different things, or like the character goes crazy, or she's like frustrated. It was a bit of a surprise, but we don't know what's going on, and we will probably see that later as well this year with some more gameplay or another trailer. And now I kind of wanted to talk about one of my favorite indies of the Summer Game Fest weekend, and that's Screenbound. You play on a Game Boy, and you also play in a 3D world as well, and like sometimes you have to look at your real surroundings, sometimes at your gamepad as well. It looked really strange, but also really interesting in some ways, and I'm really curious to see what's going on with that as well. Now, while we're on the topic of indie games, let's just talk about one more, which is called Schim, or Shadow in English. The game has a Dutch name because it's made by Dutch people. You play as like this thing that can jump from shadow to shadow. It seems to be like a bit of a puzzle type game, or I don't really know, to be honest. But it looked really interesting, and now we're done with the Game Fest games and also the Xbox Showcase games. So let's just talk about some of the other things that happened, because the world keeps spinning. There seems to be a Nintendo Direct that's happening the 18th. Among Us might have leaked it. Nobody really knows if it's sure or not, but we might have a Nintendo Direct coming next week, which we will talk about next week, what gets announced there, if it's even happening. Lollipop Chainsaw, a game everyone probably has heard about at least once. Cheerleader, big boobs, nice, chainsaw, cool. There is a remake coming, Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. It had its first trailer, and it seems to be coming out on September 25th, so not really that long away, and it's also coming to all platforms. We have 2 more leaks actually to go through, because Minecraft is getting a PS5 version. In the menu of the PS4 version, there seems to be like some thing that you can sync it to a PS5 version of the game, but there is no PS5 version of the game yet. So we might see that one being dropped soon as well. Let's talk about a final leak, because Beyond Good and Evil, the Anniversary Edition, seems to be coming out soon as well. Some info about it got leaked on the PlayStation Store. While talking about PlayStation, let's just get to our final news point, because Discord is getting fully integrated into PlayStation 5. You can make servers, you can manage servers, you can talk to your friends. You can basically do everything, almost everything the PC version can. This episode is sponsored by Gamersubs, the best gamer drink around, and you can use code DEX to get 10% off and some free samples. Get it while you can, because the cups are usually limited edition, and they also have a lot of different flavors you can pick from as well. Let's move on to the Craves update. We have the top 5 coming, which is mobile games that failed. Another Weekly Crave. We released game fails last week. A bit late, but we got some fails. Another thing we're gonna do as of this week is do a game of the week that we can maybe play as a community together, and this time it's Spirit of the North. You can see it right here, thumbnail. It's also on the website, on every page as well. We might do a Discord thing for it as well, so check that out. So what's coming out on the website this week? Well, we have 3 articles coming. One of them being great games that had a terrible start. Second, we have 5 PS2 games we would love to see being added to PlayStation Plus. And the third one was games based on books, with The Witcher as a main game. We also have a review coming out next week for a retro game, and maybe some other surprise game as well. Thank you guys for watching. If you wanted to help support us, join our Patreon. It's $5 a month. You get some extra content, some outtakes. But if you don't want to pay money, that's fine. You can support us by just subscribing, hitting the like button, hitting the bell, and just leaving a comment. Thank you guys for watching. We hope to see you guys next week in another Weekly Crave.